It is another episode of the Juice on the Cuse podcast. Wes Cheng alongside Brad Bierman. Thanks so much for joining us on this Tuesday, June 17, 2025. So much to talk about in the Syracuse world as always, and we begin today's podcast with a big recruiting weekend for Syracuse football. The Orange hosted over a dozen recruits on campus for official visits. They received 2 commitments in the past days from 2026 linebacker Jemis Saki, and on Monday, punter Jimmy Gregg also committed. Brad, what do you think of the recent news from the football team?
Certainly really interesting, Wes, because I've been focusing on special teams during this recruiting cycle because of the current roster makeup with Stonehouse, the punter, and a couple of the kickers there vying for the job. And the need for Fran Brown to nail that down moving forward, of course, so important to his strategy and to the roster makeup. And we saw it in year one. You have to have strong special teams to complement your offense and defense. So excited, certainly, to see when you ever get a top-ranked player at any position. It's certainly good news, and we know the advantages the Dome has for specialists in the kicking game. So it's certainly good to see there. And another New Jersey pickup at linebacker. And I guess the other trend I see there, Wes, as you know, zeroing in on this, is these players weren't highly ranked, really no stars, but that seems to be something that we've seen Syracuse offering players that they like early to get a commitment and then truly emphasizing the development during their careers.
Yeah, and Brad, breaking news as we're on this podcast, Syracuse landing a commitment from a third player, 2026 defensive tackle Corday Houston out of Dallas, Texas. Rivals does not have him ranked, but this is definitely someone with a really impressive offer sheet, including LSU, California, Texas A&M, among others. We had a chance to catch up with him prior to the commitment, and he spoke to us about his official visit this weekend. I asked him what stuck out to him most about this trip. He said, quote, "This is a place where I can be developed both as a player and as a person," end quote. So a lot of credit going to edge coach Nick Williams and defensive coordinator Elijah Robinson for reaching down to the Lone Star State, plucking a prospect from down there. And just one note on Saki, again, as you said, Brad, someone who isn't necessarily highly recruited or rated, and he's someone from Burlington Township in New Jersey. And if we learn anything about the staff over the last year and a half, it's that they really know how to find talented players that they can develop over time in New Jersey. Saki is not only a great name for a linebacker, I think, but someone who Syracuse really likes and believes they can develop into an impact player over time. And Brad, I did want to talk about what lies ahead. I have some more recruiting tidbits to get to and what's coming, but what do you have for us as the summer moves on with the football team?
Well, as you say, June is certainly always an important month with the official visits and how that affects recruiting. And I think, Wes, it's really going to be interesting to see where the consistency is with recruiting going into this next cycle here. You're drilling down on it, talking to players every day, all parts of the country, all sorts of great athletes that Syracuse is recruiting and going up against, Power 4 conference teams that were in the college football playoffs the last couple of years and certainly will be in the mix for the CFP this coming season. So kind of really interested to see the direction and consistency of Fran Brown's, scholastic recruiting. And then Fran Brown himself, how he matures into the job in year number 2 as a head coach. Busy off season for him, with roster management, kind of dictated by bigger programs taking away a couple of players on either side of the ball in Watson and Pena. And certainly that's the reality. But then at the same time, naming a number 1 quarterback in spring ball and then bringing in a transfer from Notre Dame that's going to compete for the starting job. So real interesting there and how it plays into the whole Dart philosophy with the players. And I guess the other big thing, of course, is the roster management and how they dictate now that the salaries and the money that can be paid to players with the recent court rulings and then, of course, NIL. All that remains to be seen how that evolves in year number 2.
Yeah, Brad, I'm definitely excited to see how Syracuse works its salary cap now that it has more of a say in how funds are distributed among the student athletes. And Brad, I did want to go back into Syracuse recruiting for a moment because this is another big week of recruiting that's about to happen. Syracuse wants a second quarterback in its 2026 class. They do have Zaid Lott, who committed and took an OV to Syracuse 2 weekends ago, but they have two more quarterbacks coming this weekend from the 2026 class, Samaj Beals and Tyrell Grant. They're both going to be on campus starting later today. Beals has been a long-time recruit of Fran Brown's, dating back to when Brown was at Rutgers and also at Georgia. And Beals tells me he really likes the way Syracuse used Kyle McCord in 2024. And as for Grant, he more recently earned a Syracuse offer when he attended franchise camp. He tells me that, quote, "I love what Coach Fran is doing at Syracuse," end quote. So I do see Syracuse picking up a commitment from a second quarterback in this class. And there's going to be a lot more recruits coming in. I do see a couple more commitments before the end of June. And speaking of quarterbacks, we're going to be talking to another one that Syracuse has been pursuing really recently. 2027 signal caller William Wood will join us after the break. This is the Juice on the Cuse podcast. Back on the Juice on the Cuse podcast, Wes Cheng here with you. We are thrilled to be joined on the program by 2027 quarterback William Wood. So, William, we'll get you started on this one. You hold a Syracuse offer. You were on campus earlier in June for franchise camp. How did it go?
It was great. It's been my, I think, fourth or fifth time back there. I've started to build a really good relationship with Coach Fran and Coach Nuns, and obviously Coach Manny Harris, the assistant QB coach. And we were there for the Wednesday before the camp. Got to watch their workout, talked to Coach Fran with my family and both coaches, and we went out to dinner with Coach Nuns and Coach Manny Harris. That was good. And then the morning we were there basically all day. And then for the camp, me and my brother went to compete. We did well. And then after, we hung out for about an hour after and got to talk to Coach Fran, Coach Nuns, Coach Manny Harris. And they're very clear. Like, they've been transparent through this whole process. Like, they want me here. I can commit whenever I want. But they also want me to take my time because they want me to make the best decision for me and my family. And then in the morning, we all went over just to hang out, talk to Coach Fran for a little bit, and then we went on our way back home.
So you just mentioned talking about recruiting with the staff. What else did you talk to the coaches about?
Just getting to know each other. Obviously the football stuff we've been over a lot. Their scheme, they like to throw the ball. They like to put a lot on the quarterback. And they really like they like football players at the quarterback position. They like guys who are tough, like guys who the people around them want to play for. And that's what they really like about me. And they want someone who is vocal, a leader that people can fall behind. And that's what they like about me. And I really like the way that they coach. And I like how Fran is very open, very transparent. He sticks to what he says. So that's been a big part in this recruiting process. And then the conversations were mostly just asking me about what I've been doing, what I like to do, and then just talking about their career paths, what their families have been up to. It's they're trying to get to know me as a person, which has been very helpful in this recruiting process because it lets me know they're definitely at the top of the board because I can relate to them a lot.
William, when I look at your tape and then I look at Kyle McCord's tape, I see a lot of similarities. Is that part of Syracuse's recruiting pitch to you?
Yeah, so back in March when that was really when I first met Fran. I had a good relationship with Coach Nuns before then, but that's when they really got serious. That's the first thing he said to me. He's like, "You remind me a lot of Kyle McCord, but I think you're a better athlete than him." So that was a boost of confidence, and that's definitely that meant a lot, especially coming from Coach Fran Brown.
Yeah. Huge compliment coming from Coach Fran. And I wanted to talk about your recruiting process. I know you're a 2027, so there's still time. But ideally, when would you like to be committed by? And what are some of the other schools that are majorly involved in your recruitment right now?
Well, right now, so for top schools, Syracuse is the top school that's offered. And then I'd say UConn, UMass, Coastal Carolina, all up there. And then schools that I've just started being in contact with or been in contact through coaches that are top. Stanford, I'm going out to today and then tomorrow to visit, and then Rutgers is up there. And then for decision timeline, I just got to feel these next few weeks. I really don't have a date and time. Obviously, before summer of next summer, obviously, because then schools start falling off the board. But I got to see how these next few weeks go, and then I'll have a better set decision timeline. because there's just so many schools now reaching out that I just don't know what schools will offer or what schools are really interested. But Syracuse will definitely be at the top no matter what.
Hey, William, congratulations on all the interest. So I want to get you on this one. You had a great sophomore season, but what's the biggest thing you're looking to show this fall as a junior?
I think I've improved with my accuracy, my arm strength, and then being a leader. Coming in as a sophomore, I think I could have done a better job being a little more vocal. But now, like, I'm going to my second year. I feel like it's really my team now. And we've had a lot of success. We've won back-to-back Super Bowls. So I think that's a place that I've really grown in, especially.
William, thanks for your time. Have a great trip out west. We'll speak soon.
All right, thank you.
William Wood, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. He's got the green light to commit to Syracuse anytime he's ready. That shows you what the staff thinks of him. And we'll definitely keep tabs on his recruitment as we move on through time. We're going to take a quick break and wrap things up here on the other side. This is the Juice on the Cuse podcast. Back on the Juice on the Cuse podcast, Wes Cheng alongside Brad Bierman. Brad, we're right at the end of our show. You got a closing thought for us?
I do, Wes, with the announcement last week that Tennessee, of all teams in the SEC, is going to be Syracuse's opponent for the third straight year in the ACC-SEC Challenge Series at the Dome this year after playing in Knoxville last year. And I know it's dictated by ESPN, TV matchups, sitting down with the ACC. You can see by the other matchups. And, you know, I guess I can kind of see it from that standpoint. But, you know, when you look at the Players Era Festival event that's going to be the week before in Las Vegas that Syracuse is participating in, that's a 5-day tournament. And I was looking at the teams again to confirm that, yeah, Tennessee is in that event as well. So certainly Syracuse is not going to be bracketed with the Volunteers in that event because they're going to play them the following Tuesday in the Dome. So just thought it was, kind of, I don't know, unusual to play Tennessee for a third straight year. Let's put it that way in that challenge series.
Brad, maybe a rare situation is too much orange in Syracuse. And Brad, I wanted to stick with basketball. Malachi Richardson will return to Boeheim's Army in 2025. The former Syracuse star and first-round NBA draft pick has signed up for TBT this summer, which will take place at Onondaga Community College from July 19 to 23. He joins Buddy and Jimmy Boeheim, Elijah Hughes, Chris McCullough, and Rakeem Christmas, along with Nick Perkins. Great to see this team getting back to more of its roots as a Syracuse alumni team. Let's see what other pieces they add as they chase that $1 million prize. That's it for us. For Brad Bierman, this is Wes Cheng. You've been listening to the Juice on the Cuse podcast presented by Believe in Rivals, and we will see you next time.